Welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, right at 8 p.m. on the East Coast. Yes, it's Monday, so I do a little bit later on Mondays. And some of you may wonder, why are you always like late on Mondays? Well, for those who don't know, my oldest daughter lives with me, and she works, and it's a late night for her on that day, on Monday. And I want to still try to have dinner with her whenever I can, every single day when I possibly can. So we have dinner together. That's why I'm late usually on Mondays. Sometimes just stuff happens, but that's usually the reason why. So now you know. I was unsure what I wanted to do. I was going to do this a little bit earlier. I thought, you know what, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. What should I do? And then I decided at the last minute, you know what? I'm gonna do it on this issue. And the reason why I thought of not doing it on this issue is Facebook is going to hammer me, right? And that's the issue. Facebook is going to hammer me on this one, because Facebook does not, I'm not Facebook, sorry, YouTube. YouTube does not like this at all, what I'm gonna do, but I'm doing it anyway, because I think it's important. I think it matters. It is talking about what Mr. RFK Jr. talked about in his press conference. And this was what, 3 or 4 days ago. He chatted about, as he's the HHS secretary, he chatted about how we're gonna deal with autism, what he's going to do, all that stuff, and the response to it. And while I wasn't shocked at the response, I was shocked at something else. And that was how utterly horrible the people are who were responding to him, how absolutely terrible they were. And they were absolutely terrible. So much I got angry. I literally got angry. I got mad because of how bad it was. And I wanted to show you that. For those who don't know, RFK Jr. did a press conference where he talked about the details of autism, the rise of it, what he thought the possible causes were, a lot of data behind it. And then he expressed that he believes that he's going to find a cure coming up here this year. He says by September, October, whatever, but this year he's going to find a cure. That is a bold claim. So you would think, though, one would think, if you didn't know America, if you were like somebody who was, I don't know, maybe you lived in another country and you didn't know America very well, maybe you had been living like, I don't know, with some tribe for like 20 years, and you came out and someone said, hey, the HHS guy is going to try to find a cure for autism. You probably go, that's amazing. That's great. Yeah, you would think that. No, not at all. In fact, it was nothing but attacks. And I wanted to show the glorious, if I could, the glorious CNN and how they reacted to what he said and how he said it. I'm going to show his actual thing eventually too, so you can see it. But I do want to bring up this piece, which I think just really explains kind of why I was so bothered. There we go. This is why. And Mike, don't worry, I won't get that triggered. I mean, a little bit, but not that much triggered, I promise. All right. Here is right after RFK Jr. says that autism is preventable. He says that. He says it's preventable. That's what he says.
Who knows where he gets it from? It doesn't make sense according to the science. It doesn't make sense according to humanity. And
now, it doesn't make sense according to science, number one. Doesn't make sense according to humanity. Humanity is what she just said. This is Dr. Chris T. Purnell. She's director of the NAACP Center for Health Equity. Utter garbage. If you have that title, the first thing you should do when you see her, when she announces the title, is laugh. That title's garbage. She is clearly and absolutely a race hustler. And I will say it right to her face. I hope she's watching. If you're watching, Dr. Chris, you are a race hustler. That's what you are. And she will prove me right during this interview. It's according to humanity. So she would rather you deal with the fear of having a child on a spectrum, deal with the trauma of having, if you have a severely autistic child on a spectrum. I have a niece who's severely autistic. So some people obviously, it says it is a spectrum, obviously. Dealing with that issue, that's fine, but equity. So what she cares about is to make sure that white kids have just as many problems as black kids do. So that's her issue. Just make sure you get autism at the same racial equity levels, then we're good. That's all she cares about. That's embarrassingly bad. And she's proud of this. Like, she's all about it. According to humanity. Okay, what have you done to fix the issues in autism? Nothing. Nothing.
It's time, I think, for all of the nation to stand up and say so. Look,
Say
Dr.
so.
Georges Benjamin came out. He's the executive director of the American Public Health Association. And he said that Secretary Kennedy should be fired or resign.
He should be fired or resign. Okay. How much has this guy dealt with the autism issue in America? He hasn't. For those of you who don't know, what America has created, and race baiters like her and race hustlers like her jump on board, it is literally an industry. Yes, we did it again. Yes, Phil, we've done it again. We've created yet another industrial complex. The autism industrial complex is a $40 billion industry. Again, I wish I was joking. I wish I was joking. Yes, it is literally a $40 billion industry. I'm not making this up. It is. You can find autism consultants all over the place. Larry, you're making that up. Oh, no, I'm not. You know me already. You already know I bought the receipts. And this is, I'm just going to show you, this is just within, hold on if I can find it here. This is just a basic Google search that you can look on to find autism consultants in your area. And there it is. Autism consultants, right there. You can see it. The name of it. Autism Consultants. That's the name. This is all over New York where I live, right? Moving on down. This is Autism Speaks. They have a directory for you. There we go. Here, the Kaplan Community Center has it. Autism Spectrum Consultants, Autism Behavior Consulting, Private Autism Consultants, the Center for Autism and Developing the Brain, Anderson Center for Consulting and Training. Look at them. All the Anderson Center for Autism. Tons of them. It is a $40 billion industry. So, if it's a $40 billion, and $40 billion, I'm sorry, $40 billion just spent by the government. That's just special ed by the government. Individuals, when you add them, oh, it's a $100 billion industry. So it's $40 billion just from government. Another 50 or 60 from the private sector. Oh, yeah. And how the government spends about $40 billion treating autism. How much does it spend on research to find a cure? 500 million. Yes. 500 million. So it spends 40 billion, just the government, not private sector, on treating autism. 500 million on trying to cure it. Why would you possibly cure it? Why would you even bother when you got a $40 billion industry that you're giving out jobs? Larry, you're cruel. No, I'm real. They're the cruel ones. No. They're the cruel ones. That's why I'm so bothered by this. And race hustlers like her making money, going on CNN. See, blah, 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 race stuff. Race stuff, give me money. I'm a consultant too. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. It drives me crazy that she does this. But she does. How dare her? Here's Mike Voss. Crazy that she dares to speak for humanity. What arrogance. Yes. Oh, yeah. She's better than you, Mike, because she has a PhD. She has a doctor in front of her name. So she's better than me and you. And she's something equity, which makes her like twice as good as you. You're not a something equity guy, are you? See? You jelly. I'm a little jealous. I wish I had a cool. I'm going to give myself that kind of title, like managing director of equity services, or that sounds cool, right? I'll give myself that title. Then I'll be cool. Then I'll be cool again. Yeah. She actually says that, and with pride. And she's wrong. I mean, that's the worst part. And she's wrong. But, you might say, well, Larry, okay, she said one bad thing. She can't keep saying bad things, can she? Oh, yes, she can. Of course she can.
I wholeheartedly agree with that statement. Day after day, we hear another travesty that's happening to public
another travesty because of this autism stuff, right?
health. We hear about funding cuts of critical
funding cuts. That's the travesty. See, this is the point. What you hear me say all the time, constantly hear me, what they care about is funding. Did she say the travesty of not funding a cure? No, she didn't care about that. The travesty of parents having their families wrecked because all of a sudden now they have two kids who are heavily on a spectrum and they can't communicate anymore. Did you hear her say that? No, she didn't say any of that. Funding. Why? Because she's funded by this stuff. That's her and her peeps getting your cash. That's her that's all you peeps getting cash. This is about money. That's all it's about. She didn't care about black people. Please, she don't care. She don't care about black people. She don't care about autistic people. She don't care. Phil says, so she wants more black autism or less. She wants it to be equitable, Phil. Okay? You don't understand that because you don't have a PhD in equity or whatever she has a PhD in. You don't have a PhD in equity. See, if you had that, you know. You and Michael are jealous of her because she's got the equity thing. Look at that. Public health and preventative medical physician. See that? She knows what she's talking about. All right, let's keep going, Jelly.
Programs. We have a whole population that's been dehumanized and disgraced, if you will.
Wait a minute. A whole population that's been dehumanized and disgraced. Who did that? You did. Who did that?
Bill. And quite frankly, public health is sick of it. And increasingly in
public health is sick of it. See that, Mike? She doesn't only talk for humanity. She talks for public health. I don't know what that is. Is that a thing? That's a thing that she just made up because she's a doctor. That's public health. And she speaks for that. And public health is sick of it. And yeah.
Our circles, we're talking about pushing back, asserting.
Oh, they're going to be pushing back and asserting. I have an idea. Dr. Chris, hear me out. You could push back and assert. That's option one. I'm going to give you option two. Do your job and find a cure. You could do that. That would shut him right up. That would shut me up too. You could own me. Boy, I would be so owned. And so would RFK Jr. We'd all be, I would get Mike to apologize. I would go to his house and bug him and get him to apologize if you would actually do your damn job and find a cure. Now, I can say that to Mike because she ain't never going to do that. So Mike's going to say, yeah, whatever, I do it. Yeah, because he knows she's never going to do it. She's never going to do it. She's too busy race hustling and insulting people and dismissing people and getting paid as a consultant. She's not doing anything. She's on CNN talking trash. I'm righteous. I know you're having trouble, and now the career that you wanted to have, you can't have now because you now have to spend money and time on a child who's severely autistic, and you have to take care of your kid as you need to, as you would, of course. So you've sacrificed a bunch of your life. I know some of you parents out there who have severely autistic children who now you're going to be a caretaker for your entire life. And you're going to worry about who will take care of your son or your daughter once you pass on or once you become disabled yourself. Don't worry about it, though, because equity, you'll be fine. Why are you a racist? That's your problem. All you people don't agree with her, you're all just racist. That's your problem.
Already during the pandemic, we saw an assassination, if you will, of the integrity of public health science.
See, there was a random assassination of the public health people during the pandemic. They did nothing wrong. It isn't that they lied to us, that they gave us false information, that they scared us, that they locked us down, destroyed our families, that they made everything. No. Okay, all you people acting like they did something wrong. Okay, she's got a PhD. Okay, so she's got a PhD, so she's smarter than you. Right, Rick? She's got a PhD. She's smarter than you. She knows. You people and all your lock us down, take away our rights. They're smarter than you. She honestly, look, she's proud to sit here on CNN and defend the establishment during the lockdowns. Look at her, righteously doing it. Oh my God, I wish I was on that panel. I would have lit her up like there's no tomorrow.
You saw an anti-science culture fomented in the U.S. government.
It's just because the anti-science culture. It's not because you guys sucked in one wrong and lied to us. It's not that.
And it's like we've fallen off of a cliff, and where will it end?
It is amazing.
And look at them like, oh yeah. Look at them. Yeah. Why are you saying that? I'd be saying, what are you talking? You made that up.
To me, Sure, Michael and Abel, that the Trump administration and all of their merit-based whatever could not find
merit-based whatever. That's okay. You know what? This is my fault. Matt, this is my fault. It's my fault, Matt. I forgot the most important thing. I forget sometimes, and I need to. And I teased Mike about this, and I forgot it. Orange man bad. That kind of just fixes it all, doesn't it? She said it. Trump and his merit thing, because merit's stupid, right? That's dumb. Merit? That's for idiots. Who wants merit? That's dumb. We want people who are credentialed and the elites to just run everything because they never get it wrong, ever, except every time. Except for every time, they never get it wrong. So this merit thing that Trump does, merit, what's wrong with you people? Merit. Yeah.
Find someone with actual qualifications.
You got to find someone with some qualifications because they never get it wrong.
Or at the very least, deference to the people who have qualifications.
Deference to the people who have been wrong every single time, who have screwed us over, who have not found the cure, who aren't looking for the cure, who are spending 100 times more on treatment than the cure. Those people, why won't you just do that? Why won't you accept that you are the poors and the wealthy and elite, and your betters know better than you? This is what she's saying. Now, what's great about this is people will say, Larry, you can't say that because that's a black woman. They will say that. I know. I don't care. But they will say that. She's elite, though, too. There's nothing to do with race or gender. What you're seeing here is elitism. That's all it is. You could be white. You could be black. Doesn't matter. Woman, man. This is elitism. And they are proud of it. And they wonder, I wonder why CNN's collapsing. Why are people not caring about, why do people have less and less belief? Why do people have less and less belief in government elites? Could it be because they're this arrogant and have learned literally nothing from their failures? Nothing. Where is the, I'm sorry, we screwed up. We were totally wrong. We shouldn't have done this. Please trust us again. No, I don't hear that. Did I hear that from Race Hustler? Did Race Hustler Dr. Chris say that? She didn't. She didn't go, you know what? We screwed up badly. And if she had said that, people will go, oh, okay, maybe, right? You've learned your lesson. You see who you were. No. Over on Instagram, John Gold says, it's people like this who espouse this type of trash that have destroyed the confidence in our government and advocacy groups. Correct. Thank you, my friend, John. Correct. That is why we don't trust them. And at no point do they go, you know what? Maybe we should have fixed. No. Shut up, poors, and listen to your betters. That's what they're saying. And this is the press now. Now, I feel bad for Sharmichael. Sharmichael's got to sit here and go, how do I deal with this? I am literally in the lion's den. How do I deal with this? What am I going to do? Now, here's the problem. Sharmichael has a problem here, and he doesn't know it. He doesn't. And I've had this before, and this is going to sound odd, I know, but you might get it. Sharmichael's guy next to him is an old white guy. Everyone else out there is a black woman. Old white guy can't say much or he gets hammered. That's just our culture. You cannot like that. That's a fact. Gonna get hammered. He's got to kind of defend his boy with his sword and shield. He has to. But he's not gonna because he doesn't get it. Because he's stuck here. Like he just has to. I've had to do that in the past. Michael's seen me do it. Sometimes I have to do that.
To be in this role. I mean, to Dr. Purnell's point, this is Christopher Banks, the CEO of Autism.
See, look, he's the only white guy on the entire panel. That's it.
Society of America. Claiming autism is, quote, preventable is not science-based. Autism is not a chronic disease, nor a childhood disease. It is a lifelong developmental condition.
It's not a disease. It's a lifelong developmental condition. That's what it is, you plebes. That's what it is. Don't try like a disease. Why do they do this? Why? Listen to what the rest of the next part is.
Not an epidemic, nor should it be compared to the COVID-19 pandemic. And using language like that.
Using language? I think Race Hustler is going to love this part.
Perpetuates falsehood, stigma, and stereotypes.
See, because now you're a phobe or an ist. Is this an ableist thing? Is that what that is? I mean, we got to have an ist. So don't compare it. Don't fix it. Don't cure it. Cause ist. Cause phobe. That's the reason. Cause equity. Now, I know some of you can be mad at me when I say this. Larry, you're being a DEI guy. No. That's real. You see it. I didn't make this up. They're doing it. So this guy, Christopher Banks, is the CEO of Autism Society of America. What happens if autism goes away? He just lost his job. Am I that cruel? Am I that cynical? Yes. Why am I that cynical? Because I have watched families be broken up be busted up and crippled because of their kids being severely autistic. If you know someone like that, you know what I'm talking about. If they could find a cure, they would. I'm going to give you two examples of this that are important. One of them is the idea from years, which is still kind of around, which is fat acceptance. You had a whole bunch of people like Lizzo who were all about fat acceptance. Don't talk, don't call me name. That's stereotyping, falsehood, stigma, same words, stereotypes of people who are overweight or people who are obese. Now, I don't care about that, right? You're overweight if you think you are. I don't care if you're overweight. That's on you. I'm not judging. I don't care, right? Whatever you are. My point is Lizzo wasn't saying. Lizzo was like, being fat's awesome. I love it. Remember, she was that whole thing. Then Ozempic came. All of a sudden, she didn't want to be fat no more. Huh, that's weird. So it was all about stereotypes, falsehoods, and stigmas until I could buy Ozempic. Then I don't care about that no more. Now I'm going to say something that's also going to be interesting here. A little different, but some of you remember Sarah Higdon. I've had Sarah Higdon on my show multiple times. Sarah's one of my friends. Sarah's a trans woman. And she got banned from Twitter for saying this. She said that she has that body dysmorphic, I forgot, is it a syndrome or I forgot what it's called. But she says she has it. That's what she says. Again, she says this, not me. This is her as a trans woman. She says this. And she says, I have to dress this way so I feel comfortable in my body. I have to present this way so I can feel comfortable in my body. That's what she says. Again, I'm using her words, not mine, but she says. You can check her out, Sarah Higdon. She's on Twitter. She's on Facebook. You can check her out if you want to. She's been on my show before, a friend of mine. So she says, if I could take a pill to where I could feel comfortable and natural in my body without dressing and presenting this way, I would take it. She's, again, her words. They threw her off Twitter. This is back in the day before Elon had it. Threw her off. Said that was hateful and falsehood and stigmas and stereotypes and bad. You can't self-diagnose her. I didn't call her that. Herself. She said it and said, if I could take a pill, I would do it. I just want to feel comfortable in my own body is what she wants. She recognizes the issue she has. She wants to feel comfortable. She said, if I take the pill, I would take it if it existed. I just want to feel comfortable in my own body. What's wrong with that? Who am I to judge that? Nobody. Who are you to judge that? Nobody. I would ask you if you know somebody who has a child who is severely on the spectrum, if they could take a pill and they remove their stigma, remove their autism, and they'd be able to communicate clearly, which, if you know, many people on the spectrum cannot communicate clearly. She can communicate clearly. She can connect easily to each person. She could pick up on the social cues. And if you're severely autistic, you could stop stimming. You could stop harming yourself, self-harm when you can't communicate, right? For those of you who don't know, very often the frustration that someone heavily on the spectrum will experience, they will sometimes commit self-harm. That does happen sometimes. Wouldn't you take that pill? Wouldn't you give that pill to your kid? Of course you would. Does Christopher Banks care about that? No. Does race hustler Dr. Chris care about that? No. Does Bobby Kennedy care about that? Yes. But he's the bad guy. Because what he does breaks up the system. What he does destroys the autism industrial complex. I wish I was making it up, but here's another guy saying it. Another one. Let me grab a couple of these if I could. All righty. Lunatic Libertarian, thank you for the $2, my friend. Can RFK Jr. solve stupidity? Sadly, no. I wish he could. That'd be awesome. Sadly, no. That would be amazing if he could do so. Lunatic goes on to say, lifelong chemicals exposure in day-to-day life. That might be true, right? I'm going to go through his actual thing in a minute. That could be part of it, right? And I don't know if it is, but I wouldn't be surprised. That could be it too. Of course it could be. Who knows, right? It could be in what mom is having or something. Who knows, right? I don't know. My point is, I don't have to know, but we should be spending a whole lot of time on curing this damn thing. Of course we should. So, John, thank you for the $5, my friend. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for the super chats. Peace, thank you for the $5. Peace can make a prediction. I will make a prediction. RFK will be instrumental in finding a cure and the causes for autism, or he'll end trying. I agree with you. I think you're right, Peace. The advantage is whatever he comes up with this year, whether he fails, succeeds, he's right, he's wrong, whatever it is, it will move the ball forward because these people who are part of the establishment, they will have to act at one point. They simply will have to. Yes, they have to. So, absolutely. So, Joel over on Rumble, thank you for being a member, Joel, says, as an autism parent means I talk for all autism cases, even though each case is very different, and you must agree with me. Correct. And this is what he got responses from this too. You were right, Joel. People like Rosie O'Donnell said, I have a child and she does X, Y, and Z. Good for you. I'm not joking. If you've ever heard me talk about kids who have disability or kids who need special education, I say it all the time. It's a massive spectrum. There are certain kids who you're trying to figure out what job they can hold, right? Because they will pay taxes, as they say, they will happen. And then certain kids where, okay, can they tie their shoe? Will they be able to do that? And depends on your kid, right? Each kid's different. Absolutely true. But no, they just want to attack him and call him names. So anyway, the SLG Triathlon says, to your point, if we agree most take the pill, then we must fund NIH research to create the cure. Yes, correct. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Let's see here. John says, I have a severely autistic son, 18 years old, nonverbal. If there was a pill or a shot, I'd give it to him. Yes, of course. Right? My niece is verbal, but very limited and does not pick up my social cues at all. Very limited. Has to be in a lot of drugs to stop her from, she stims heavily, right? And barely, she can get a little bit like, if she's tired or hungry, you'll know that, right? But that's about as far as she can communicate. And she's in her 30s now. And it's very difficult. If I could give her a pill, John, I'm with you. I give it to her. If I can give her a pill so she could, get herself back in action, she could communicate with her mother better, communicate with me better. I mean, there's a point where I feel almost like I missed having a niece because she can't connect to me, right? She can't connect. She's so severe. The connection, I mean, she knows who I am and stuff. And like we can sit in the same room and kind of be together, but it's different. You know what I'm talking about, John. I'm preaching to the choir here. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'd give it to. I'm with you. I'd give it to. And these people don't care about that at all. So
all he has to do is just say, I'm going to let the people who know about this talk about this. But he did that instead.
Like, I'm not a doctor.
He should never say that. Never say that. Unless you worry about YouTube. Never say that. Just say what you feel. You don't have to be. She's a doctor, so what?
I would probably do.
Okay, the other woman's a doctor, and she's an idiot. I'm sorry, she's not an idiot. She's a horrible human being. I should change that. She's not an idiot. She's a horrible human being. I take that back.
Do this a little differently. I think science matters. It's important. I think we should probably use this opportunity, especially with the growth in AI, to figure out how we can better address some of the needs of children with autism. I mean, Doc, you would know better than me where this begins.
See, the problem is you're giving the doctor deference when you should be insulting her to her face. I'm not joking. You should give her no deference. She doesn't deserve it. She's a horrible human being, and you should express her. You should call her the race hustler that she is.
Let's put the focus there and figure out how we prevent this going forward. The technology, I think, is increasing.
And the reason why he has to do this is he has to set up to defend his white friend. I know that sounds horrible. Please don't be mad at me for this, but you'll see what I mean.
To do that. So that's probably what I would advise the HHS secretary to do. A lot of families have to deal with this. A lot of parents worry when they pass on who's going to take care of their children. This is a very sensitive issue. And so I would just have a very different outlook and address
What's going to happen now? I mean, he says he's going to find the cause of autism.
Look how he's going to find the cause. Like it can't be found. How righteous and stuck up is this reporter or journalist or whatever she is? How stuck up is she to go, it's going to find the cure? If the people with PhDs could find it, it's impossible. No one can find the cure. Who's looking for it? I think I've told you. Almost nobody, because it's a $40 billion government industry plus another $100 billion on top of that.
This year, this calendar year.
Well, first, Abby, he's been on the job for 90 days, a little less than 90 days. So I think that we should just give him the benefit of the doubt, don't you?
No.
Wow, all three just attacked him. Now, how do you feel? I mean, maybe if you're a white guy and you're here. And I don't mean to be doing race. I don't, but they did it, right? I didn't do it. They put 5 black people and 1 white guy on the show. I didn't do that. It's them. I'm just saying, and this is CNN. You know how this works. And 2 of them are race hustlers. Both of the women are race hustlers. Both of them are. So they put two race hustlers on this panel, 5 black people and the 1 white guy. Sharmichael, you had to help your guy out. You had to help your boy out. You didn't do it. You dropped the ball on this one. You should have seen the ambush coming. I saw it coming a mile away. I saw this coming a mile away. And here comes the attack. What do you do for your white guy? You start calling him out. Oh, God, that's cringe. He's in a bad spot. I feel bad for him. Sharmichael should have jumped right in. He should have jumped right in. He didn't.
Hold on, one at a time. Hold on. Hold on. Guys.
Why, Sharmichael, you messed up, brother. You should have jumped right in. You were his sword. You were his shield. You left him hanging.
1 second, okay? Let me just let him express what he's going to express, and you can rebut it.
The Health and Human Services, you're going to be here saying the same thing. It just seems like everything President Trump does, you're going to oppose, no matter what. And
it
look,
seems like everything he does, you're going to support blindly.
No,
and
not at all.
foolishly,
I'm saying,
and it leads the rest of us down the
Oh, you, but you don't. Okay.
This is the challenge. This is the challenge. He built this cabinet off of loyalty, not off of expertise. He is politically inept.
Okay. She's the author of Say It Louder. She's the author of that, Tiffany Cross.
And his first job in government was as president of the United States. And you see how dangerous that is to have a reality TV star.
And she's the co-host of Native Land Pod. Do I have to say anything? CNN decided, let's put these 2 women on. That's the right people to put on to talk about Kennedy and autism. Let's put these 2 people on. Don't get the guy Christopher Banks from the autism place. Don't put him on. Let's put 2 race hustlers on. Let's do that because that'll work.
Elevated to this post and play with our health in the process. Let me just explain to you what's happening right now.
Oh, explain.
The HHS cuts.
Cuts in. Oh, see, you can't cut because that's jobs. You can't cut. Don't care about autism.
Right now, they have already cut programs from the CDC that were studying infectious diseases and studying STIs. They are going through looking for any little thing that has anything to do with diversity, equity, inclusion. Yes. They are the.
Oh, see now every time I do these, and you just let them talk. The goal is let them talk. They will always tell on themselves. They will always self-report. Guaranteed, they will always tell on themselves. And she's getting rid of DEI. I thought it was autism. I thought that's what mattered. I thought isn't it autism? Oh, no, it isn't. It's DEI. There we go.
Didn't earn it hires. We have a qualified doctor here.
Didn't earn it. That's what she called. Didn't earn it. Here we have a qualified doctor.
Medical profession who works in the medical profession telling you this is a.
Who works in medical? She's a race hustler. Her job is director of health equity. She's not delivering babies. She's not doing that. She's talking trash on CNN, trying to make sure that just the same amount of black kids get autism as white kids. That's her goal. Sharmichael, you dropped the ball on this one, brother. If I was him, I'd have defended my boy. I'd be hooking and jabbing right now.
Problem. And yet still you are spitting in our face trying to convince us it is rain. You have
spitting in our face. There's these 2 people up there being why? Because, and again, I said it earlier, I gotta say it again, because Orange Man is bad. I mean, he is. So
at least, but we
can
be sensible and say this is a problem for the American.
Be sensible with her hand out. You gotta with her hand out. At least she's not doing the crab hand thing. She's not doing that at least, but she's doing this thing, right? She's not doing the crab hand. She's doing this. She's just doing this, which is, I guess, better.
People, it's not a political issue, Abel. This is a matter of our health.
It's not a political issue, she says. But she just mentioned Trump. The host mentioned Trump. He picked the cabinet because it's not a political issue. It's literally you made it a political issue.
Okay, you can't say give someone a benefit of the doubt when we already have proof in Texas that 2 children are dead from a measles outbreak that should not have happened.
Shouldn't have happened. Measles shouldn't have happened. We lose hundreds of people from measles every single year. And that's because him. Meanwhile, if they should have got the jab, it would have been last year. He wasn't HHS secretary last year. He wasn't. So if they would have got the jab, it would have been last year. He wasn't in charge last year. Your boy was still in charge last year. Wasn't he? Your boy Biden was in charge last year. Is it his fault? No, because again, orange man bad. Never forget that. Orange man bad. Does not matter. Yes. Rick says, these people want autism and more of it. Yes, I wish you were wrong, Rick. They have to have problems so they can still have jobs to solve them, right? They have to have jobs to solve them, of course. So good. Let more people get out. They don't care. They don't care at all. They're not concerned in any way, shape, or form about that. I completely agree. They went right to DEI. Look, again, they went to DEI. I didn't. I know it sounds like, I'm being the race guy here. You guys, if you guys watch me, I'm not the race guy, right? I bring up race when they bring it up. I bring up race when it's appropriate. And they did. They put 5 black people and 1 white guy on the stage. I didn't do that. They put a woman who's the director, NAACP for health equity. And the other woman who wrote the book, Say It Louder. Say it loud. You know what that comes from if you are a person of color. You know what that comes from, right? Right? They got that. And runs the Native Land Pod. They put them on, not me. Just saying.
Because you have a secretary who has consistently and systematically undermined the science around vaccines. How can we give him the benefit of the doubt when he spent decades being a charlatan when it has come?
And then when the biggest problem happened, the biggest one, which was 2020, when the big one came, everyone who was in charge, all of them, failed miserably in every way. You say, no, every way. America had one of the highest death rates. One of the highest death rates. That's true. And we lost so much. We devastated people. We devastated business. We devastated our people. We devastated children. Devastated them all. Devastated people. We shut so many young men out of life because of those stupid lockdowns. And look at her being so self-righteous. She's a horrible person. And so is the terrible race hustler next to her. Horrible people. They are wrecking everything. They wrecked it. And you should just shut up and take it.
To science and public health issues. Here is a person during his nomination process who espoused medical racism. He said that Black and African American people had different immune systems. Excuse me, sir. There's no room for a benefit of the doubt. As she was just saying.
Okay, hold on. She just said that. There's a room. She said they have different medical. Okay. Doctor. Again, she's a doctor. I want you to understand she's a doctor. Hear what she just said. All right. That's what she said. There's no room for that. Okay, I got you. I'm going to show you something if you don't mind. This right here is from NIH. Just so you're aware, from NIH. This is where it's from, right here. Talking about racial differences in chronic immune inflammatory conditions and risk of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in veterans from the United States. Hold the purpose, the results, conclusion. The observed difference in NHL risk by race supports a role in race-related differences in genes regulating immune/inflammatory response. Race matters. And who says this? Not me. NIH.gov. NIH.gov. She's a doctor talking shit on CNN and utterly wrong. Why would she say that? By the way, this is anyone can check this. This is literally NIH. Anyone can check this. Literally NIH.gov. Anyone can check this. She's on here talking to her. She's a doctor. Care about her and the experts. Why? Why would she say what she said? Because what she said doesn't fit her narrative. See, because that would change race equity or whatever health equity thing she is. She's the equity person. So logic and science, that's for idiots. Don't do that. Don't do that. I don't care about that. Yes. Doesn't care at all. That part, she's totally okay with that. Totally okay with that. So yeah, the biggest issue there is the immune systems. Yes, and she didn't pay attention to that at all. That doesn't matter. Knuckleheads, what's wrong with you? She actually said that. So let me move on. I know some of you are like, I can't believe she's that bad because she doesn't care. She knows most people won't talk to her. And the worst part is, most of the time, people like her because she's so self-righteous and because she's so much of a race hustler that no one would dare attack her, because if they do, she's going to call them an hysterophobe and they're afraid of it. So she knows that. So she uses her advantage and she says stupid, wrong stuff like that, which is clearly stupid and wrong, which I would have called out immediately. I would have just said, you made that up. You're a doctor and you're going to tell me that race has nothing to do with your immune system? That in health, race doesn't matter? Well, then why do you care about equity then? Of course race matters. It's a difference. There's a difference. It's called science. It's different. It's called science. I'm not mad at it. It's just true. Anyway, let me keep moving.
We have gutted programs at both the CDC
Back to programs again. Note, where's the autism piece? Nowhere. Gutted programs. Lunatic is over in the house over on Rumble, and he says, F Google and the C's that run their policy department. I agree. I agree. It's terrible. I agree. Yes. So, let's see here. SLG Triathlon says, NIH makes it mandatory to include males and females in diversity to ensure results are valid for all people. Well, that can't be true because it doesn't matter. I'm kidding. Yes, I get it. I get it. All right.
FDA around smoking. Do you know the leading preventable cause of death in the United States? Tobacco.
And that has what to do with this?
You got the very
So
opposite.
on the benefit,
he's not going anywhere. He's there.
On the benefit of the doubt, I want to play a little bit more about
what
he's been saying recently. These are some
because he's crazy. So
of the claims that he's been making.
He's making claims. What kind of claims have you been making?
This whole generation of kids is damaged by chronic disease. When my uncle was
True.
president, 3% of Americans were obese.
True.
Today, it's around 70%. Today, we're the fourth most obese country in the world.
Oh, he meant overweight. 70% not obese, 70% are overweight. That's what he meant. So he did misspeak on that one.
People get measles because they don't vaccinate. They get measles because the vaccine wanes. The vaccines wane about.
He says the vaccine wanes, what he says.
4.8% per year.
So almost
She starts laughing. The doctor laughs at that.
everything. I'll give him the chronic disease. I mean, I don't even know. Maybe that.
Look, I'll give him that. I don't know about chronic disease. Every single person has someone with chronic disease in their family. What is wrong with you, you horrible human being? You're terrible. Why is Sharmichael, you're disappointed, brother? You should be scolding her right now. Wow. This is mainstream CNN. And they're laughing. Saying everything's wrong. And she said it's all wrong, right? Hold on. You know I'm bringing receipts because this is garbage. Hold on. Right here. Again, this is from NIH. NIH, so I'm not making this up. I'm giving you government stats. Here it is. Long-term immunogenicity after measles vaccine versus infection. Boom. Current evidence suggests that immunity after the disease is lifelong, whereas the response after doses of the vaccine declines in 10 to 15 years. NIH.gov. Let me say it again. NIH.gov. I didn't make this up. This is the government telling you that what he said is true. If you get it, it's lifelong. If you get the jab, it wanes. That's what he said. And the doctor laughed. Right? One more time. NIH. Right there. Evidence suggests that immunity after disease, lifelong, where after you get the dose of the jab, declines within 10, 15 years. The race baiter doctor laughed. Ha ha, that's dumb. And the CNN person also laughed. Ha ha, dumb. You could have had, if you cared, you could have had your intern Google that. But you don't want to Google that. Because it doesn't matter if it's true or not. What matters is Orange Man bad. and we will let you die. We will let your children be broken. We will let your family be smashed to make sure that whatever equity thing, virtual signal thing, whatever, as long as we say orange man bad, that's all that matters. I wish it wasn't true, but it's absolutely true. Yes. We grab a couple more of these off of Rumble. Lunatic is back again. Thank you for the $1, my friend. I've only known constitutional warriors. They delete people. That's what we need. He goes, another one, $1. Nicotine kills all viruses. Why did the indigenous smoke tobacco? Oh, interesting. Well, there we go. They did. That's true. You're not wrong. They did smoke it. That's true. Good point. Point taken, my friend. Point taken. Absolutely point taken. So, all right. So, in any case, you can see how this works, right? You can see how I just shown you that a simple Google search would show you that RFK Jr. is correct off of a government website, their own data, and that Miss CNN is utterly wrong. And they looked at it in what way? Oh, they didn't, because they didn't care. They didn't want to. They didn't want it to work. They didn't want it to be real. They wanted to make sure that just made him look good and they'd laugh at him. Remember, every single time, all they want is to dismiss. I've been saying this since last year. Dismiss, dismiss, dismiss. That's all they care about is to dismiss.
That is true or not. But almost everything.
Is it true or not?
Everything else that he said was false in that statement.
It was not false. I just showed you what he said was right. We have a chronic disease problem. Now, he did misspeak. It's not 70% obese, it's 70% overweight. That's true.
Speaking on behalf of the health agencies of this country.
He's wrong on obesity?
He is wrong on obesity.
Yes.
It's not.
We agree on
It is
all
not
that.
70%.
Well, guess, let me share. Let me share.
I
with
mean,
you.
Okay, that fact you got down. So the obesity fact, that one you care about. The rest, oh, you don't care.
Secretary Kennedy is going to be the Secretary of Health and Human Services.
There's no room, her points. There's no room for sycophants when it comes to our health. Insult, insult, insult. That's it. Constantly insult, insult, insult.
For the next couple of years, how do we work with him to make sure that we're moving in the right direction? We don't enable him. We don't enable him.
We got to call him out on his BS. We can't enable him. That's what those three people just said. Sharpe, what are you doing? Dude, you're dropping the ball on this one. I'd be in full battle mode right now.
What about just having standards for knowing your facts before you speak?
What about having standards for knowing your facts? Why don't you? You don't have those standards. Here are your standards. What fact will make Trump look bad? Let's keep that one. What fact makes Trump look good? Okay, forget about that one. Don't research that. Don't do that. He might look bad. No, don't do that. That's her standard. I guess you could have that. I'm going to have a standard. All the facts that make me look good are the ones that matter. And the ones that don't are dumb, stupid, and I'll insult them. I'll say there's no standards. I'll call them names. I'll say they're mean or whatever, not equity. I'll do that. I'm a good standard. I'm going to do that.
Yes.
Abby, I agree. Abby, I agree.
Let me hold on. What about that?
I agree with that, Abby. I mean, look, I started following Secretary Kennedy about 2-3 years ago. I didn't even know who I had heard of him, but I started following him on his.
These are your surrogates? Bobby, these are your surrogates? Did you guys see me last year? These are your surrogates. All right, I'm gonna have to call somebody up. I'm gonna have to call. You can't have these guys. I mean, look, I'm sure Abel's a nice guy. I'm sure he's a nice guy. He does not know how to fight these battles. Sharpe, quiet. He don't know how to fight these battles. They don't know. You see me fight these battles. I know how to fight these guys. What are they doing?
Make America healthy again on food, on the way the federal government says you can eat this, on the food guide and everything. And I started watching.
Yeah, because they were wrong on everything. Look at her. She got her eyes. Look at her. Look how smug she is. Literally go, you're the one who sat here and said the government was good on the food pyramid. Here was the government's plan. You're not doing well. Eat more bread. Okay, you're sick. Eat more bread. You're overweight. Eat more bread. You got cancer. Eat more bread. That was what the government said. Eat more bread and more corn. Why? Because we pay the wheat and the corn farmers. And soy, eat soy. Soy, wheat, and corn, eat lots of that. Why? Because we pay them. Because we pay them. That's the reason why. Right? It's not good for your health. I know it's terrible for you. We don't do that. I don't eat that stuff. You poors eat that stuff because we pay them. So don't hurt your health, and we'll make a massive industry out of it, and we'll suck all your money out of you, and you'll all be sick, and I'll be fine. But just do what we say. And she's all smug.
And listening, and he makes a lot of valid points.
I just pointed out.
So in my mind,
hold on, guys.
a lot of valid points.
We cannot all speak at the same. We really cannot all speak at the same time. I'm sorry to say, but we have to do it one at a time. Let me just one quick point, and Mandela, you have to get in. I just pointed out that you were nodding your head to a lot of what he said. It's not true, most of it.
It's all true. He made one error. Sorry, not all true. It's 90% true. One error on the percentage who are obese. That's true. Everything else is true. And I just showed you from the NIH. I showed you that data. That's true. And remember this. She knew. I've been on these shows before. They know what they're going to talk about literally hours before. Just in case she doesn't know how this actually works. She knows what she'll be talking about hours before. These guests are all booked hours before, right? Sometimes days before, but surely hours before. Right? And she knows what she's going to talk about. She knows already. So she has time to look up everything when she wants to look it up. She has time. How did I find these facts that I found? I figured I was doing this out a couple hours ago. My team knows. Because I sent it out when I figured it out. I was like, oh, yeah, I got a show in a couple hours. I'll do that. That's often how I pick my show. Whether it often comes up late. I often figure out like a couple hours before I do the show. Right? So I'll do this. And I do a simple Google search. And I find this information. She couldn't. Okay, maybe she's too super cool to it. Okay, you don't have interns. You don't have producers. Nobody could do it. Of course they could. She didn't want to. Didn't fit her narrative. I wonder why CNN's failing. Because this. This is why. Her narrative. That's what it is. So, grab a couple more of these. All righty. Again, it's over at Rumble. Lunatic, rocking and rolling. Thank you for $20, my friend. We only see reinforcement of the system and the propaganda machine. Accurate. They can't stop doing it. And they put other people on who look dumb or quiet or bad. And then they pretend like, see, look, this is the other side. The other side is worse, lunatic. They're so bad. They're terrible. See, we're right. That's what they do. That's how they work it. 100% true. Yes. So. All righty. Let me grab some more of these if I could. And let me grab one more of these. All right. So before I go any further, guys, let me ask you a favor if I could. I know I do. I got more I want to show you. But guys, please, I'm seeing them aren't that many. Please click the button known as Lima India Kilo Echo. If you like what I'm doing, if you think this is interesting, if you think it makes sense, let other people know. Let Mr. Rhythm be happy. You know, because I'm talking about RFK, this is going to get demonetized. This is going to get trashed. You know that. It's going to get, of course. So you have to make up for it. You have to. Click that button. It's free. Please do it. Remember, though, also you can share it. You can share this if you're on Rumble. You can share this on Instagram. You can share this into a Facebook group. You can share this. Please share it if you can into something. Put it into someplace else. Other people can see it. It does share, reshare it, repost it on X, whatever the case may be. Please do that. If you're not following me on multiple platforms, I don't know, love Ozempic. I don't know, whatever. You love Ozempic then. That's your fault. Don't do that. Why are you doing that? Don't do that. Instead, follow me on at least one or two things. If you can, head over to Sharpe Way YouTube and subscribe and click all notifications so that you can see it right away. If you do want to get yours to the front, you can. You can super chat me if you're on YouTube, or you can rant me if you're on Rumble. That goes right to the front. So please do that if you want your comment to go right to the front. I know I'm yapping a bit today. I'm going to grab some more comments in a minute. I will. But I also try to grab comments from members when I can. You can become a member too if you want to. YouTube, $49 per month. Click that join button. Or on Rumble, click the subscribe button during the live, $49 also per month. And now if you want to, also on Larry Sharpe Facebook, which I'm now streaming on Larry Sharpe Facebook now, you can do it there if you want to. That's also $1.99. So it's actually cheaper on Facebook if you want to, whichever one fits your budget. But the more of this I do, the more members I have, the less work I have to do during the day, and the more I can do these every single day to the best of my ability, and maybe a couple of them. So that's what I'm trying to achieve. And not just that. Members, can submit reaction videos. If you want me to react to a video and you're a member, you can be a member, submit. And if I think it's interesting, I'll react to the video that you ask me. I've done it 3 times already. I will react to the videos that you send in. Members get to give me that. And members get to be on the special member show. You can be a guest right here with me. I'm doing another one end of this month. So you can jump on board and be there too. So please make sure you're doing that if you can. It does matter tremendously. All right, let me grab some comments if I can. Let's see here. Shelly says, thank you for being a member, Shelly. He has already found the cause, an environmental toxin. He hopes the toxin can be eliminated. True, he's already said that. He does believe that he's found that there is a cause and it will be environmental. He's probably right. He probably is. Mike Voss in the house. Cure? Maybe not. It's a big ask. Cause? Far more probable and immediate. In fact, I believe that cause is bigger issue at this moment. That could be a factor in many things now. Focus is needed. Correct. And that's the point I bring, right? I think you're right. It's my earlier point. Regardless of whether he finds the cure or not, look, I hope he does, of course. Mike, I'm sure you do too. I hope he does. But if he doesn't, if he moves it towards a cause or something else, it moves everything forward. This is a win no matter what. It's a win. Jeff says you can't cure autism, but you can potentially eliminate the causes. That'd be great. I would take either of them, right? Look, of course I want him to cure if there's such a thing. I don't know enough about it to know if there is such a thing. There might be. I mean, maybe you can. Look, even if you could cure autism, it wouldn't be like magic and the person all of a sudden, gains back whatever time they've lost. My niece is in her 30s now. And the gentleman who talked, he said that his son is 18. Okay, you give them the pill or whatever the cure is, right? And now they don't have those issues anymore. They still got to relearn everything. So it's going to be a challenge, but I'll take that challenge, right? For some people on the spectrum, this is where they're going to be. They've kind of plateaued. That's where they're going to be. But imagine if you could take the pill, whatever, and now you could retrain and get them back in action. All right, you lost a bunch of your life, whatever, 18 years or 30, whatever, but now you got a new shot. I would love that shot at life. I would love to give my niece that shot at life. So maybe, yeah. So Phil, of course, cracking jokes. I hope not. If he does, there'll be no more libertarians. There's a lot of us on the spectrum. That's kind of true, Phil. There's a lot of us. There's a lot. Yes. So yeah, yeah, there's a lot of us. There's a lot of us. So, all righty. Cheyenne agrees. She says he may find a prevention, not a cure. I could see that. I'll take any one of them. Yes, I'll take any one of them. Kim says, I know that several years ago, there's something I don't know. I know that several years ago, there is something I don't know what it is, but people are giving it, and it's reversing autism. I've heard that you can break it in some way with some kind of training. I don't know if it's true. I don't really know, but I have heard those types of things. Look, if that's true, I hope he finds it. I hope he finds it. Michael, thank you for being a member, my friend. Monday Night Cringe Ball. Yeah. Andrea is in the house. Hey, Andrea, I'm glad you were in the house. I appreciate it. Yes. Rick, thank you for being a member, my friend. The culture warriors believe that autism is akin to gender or obesity. It should be accepted and embraced. It should be treated as a special gift. Yes, and I get that concept, Rick. And maybe if I had a child who was on the spectrum, maybe I would use that as some form of feeling better. Maybe I would. I don't. The person on the spectrum in my world is my niece. So it's kind of one removed, right? So it's one removed. If it was my daughter, one of my daughters, maybe I would think that. But I'd be very forward. If there was a pill to cure, I would take it. I'd give it to my niece. I know I'd give it to my daughter. I know I would. So I get that idea, but the problem is that's fine if you want to feel better about yourself or your issue. Okay. But not if you want to cure it. And that's the problem. So, yeah. Keijon, thank you for being a member. Most importantly, it doesn't make financial sense to big pharma. Yes. Accurate. That's the biggest piece. Yes. Phil says, that's good. One more industry. Yes, the autism industrial complex. Yet another way for government to throw money away without trying to fix the problem, just servicing the problem. Just servicing it, not fixing it. Right. And to be clear, there's data on that one too. If I can find that one here too. This is autism causes. This is from University of California. Yes, that is how Arnold Schwarzenegger says it, California. So here, Autism costs estimated to be $500 billion, maybe even $1 trillion by 2025. Yep. University of California. Terrible. Yep. This is spending. How much we spend on it. So much money. Different plans they spend. Billions. Yeah. They're just increasing it. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's the piece. They want it to get bigger. Bigger and bigger and bigger. That's the piece. This is statistics. About 26% of people on the spectrum actually are severe. About 26%. So about 1 in 4, give or take, is actually severe. So yeah, that's where they are. That's where they are. So I think let me see if I have any more on this one. I may get rid of this one for now. Let me see if there's any more on this one. That's sort of thing. He just gets beat up for a bit, which is not great. I feel bad for the guy. He did get beat up a bit.
Right. Knowing that, I mean, shouldn't that give you pause when he tells you things that might sound true, but really aren't true because he's playing?
You mean like everything CNN has said for the past 20 years? Like that? You mean like that? Does that give you pause?
To your desire to believe certain information that, confirms your
pot, meet kettle. Like, wow. Literally, she has. If I was there, I've said what I just said. I would say, you mean like CNN for the past 20 years? You mean like that? You mean like what you said about if Trump becomes president, there'll be no more elections? You said that? Remember that here on CNN? You said there'll be no more elections? There are elections. You said that, though. You mean like that? Or you mean like you said that if you take the jab, you cannot get the virus? Remember when you said that? Or like when you put on your screen, I'm not making this up, when you put on the death count on your screen during the lockdowns to scare people? You mean like that? Even though at least 20% of those weren't people who died because of it, they died and they had it. Yeah, because you guys didn't know that. So like if you were in a motorcycle accident and then you went to the hospital and they tested you, they tested your dead body. I'm not joking. They would test your dead body to see if you had the virus. If you had it, they would tag that as a death from the virus. Oh yeah, you can just Google search that. That actually happened. Why? Because the federal government gave them money for one of those patients, and they wouldn't give money for the other patient. About cash. The government made sure that happened. And CNN put all those stats as deaths. A ticker happening during the entire time. You mean like that? She's an embarrassment. I would have actually said that to her. And just watch her just cringe. That's what actually happened. So, yes. All right.
Priors.
I'm relating it, Abby, to the health side of food and diet.
Which is very important.
I was nodding, and I kind of disagreed with him, and now I agree with him.
Yeah, but
we are eating junk today.
I get it. We're eating junk, but the connection that he makes between those things and health outcomes are not always.
So to be clear, eating junk and health outcomes are not related. She said that. I didn't say that. She did. That's not related. So you eat terribly and your health becomes bad because you eat terribly. That's not a thing.
Correct.
Well, I was going to say, how we expect to find a cure these root cause of autism if we're cutting $40 billion from HHS anyway? How do we?
You've had HHS with all that money for decades. What have you done? Nothing except increase autism consultants.
We plan to stop and mitigate any of the health crises that we face if we're going to be cutting $40 billion from the agency. It is irresponsible.
Again, all he cares about, I'm going to get rid of it. All he cares about is funding. Okay, we're done with him. He's just funding. That's all he is. He's just funding. All of them, every one of them is just a grifter, an obvious grifter, and they just want to grift more. And because RFK might cut stuff, well, then he can't grift as much. Now, I'm going to go now to The Daily Show. They, of course, attack him also because to hell with him, let's attack him. They decided to yell at him too, and they also embarrassed themselves. But this is what they did. This is what I guess more mainstream people did.
Let's start with Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. seen here greeting a supporter.
Start with the insult.
It's always good to meet a fan, but RFK is known.
I always say, whenever someone leans left, they always begin with the insult. Because they have to make sure that anything the person says is by default bad and by default wrong because they're dismissed. Always the same. Always the same.
For his controversial health ideas like drinking raw milk and adding roadkill to the food pyramid. But the conspiracy theory that he's most known for is that vaccines cause autism. He's basically a health expert the same way Katy Perry is a rocket scientist.
Insult, insult,
how much
insult.
love is inside of you, how loved you are until the day you launch.
I have a teenage dream that she shut the f up. So
insult, insult, insult. And people watch this, right? I mean, I watch because it is. I don't watch it. Yeah. That's just insult.
RFK Jr. brought his anti-vax policies to the administration. And yesterday, he gave a speech about autism.
I like
and
that.
People are pissed.
Comments from Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. that are raising eyebrows during his first news conference as the nation's top health official. He addressed rising autism rates while calling the disease preventable.
RFK Jr.'s bleak description of people living.
Huh. What's the common denominator of these people right here? Huh. That's weird. What's the common denominator here? Man, I'm the race guy tonight, aren't I? You guys be mad at me. I'm the race guy tonight. I'm not trying to be the race guy. They did it, not me. Huh. Okay. Okay. Woo, okay. Every one of those educated women. What did I say Democratic Party's full of? Educated women. What did I say that the Democratic Party pushes towards? Educated women. There they are. There they are. Yes. The first one it says, RFK, quick question. Have you actually met anyone with ASD? Clearly he has. Yeah, clearly he has. Yes. So anyway, let's yeah.
With autism causing outrage.
Autism destroys families. These are kids who will.
Now they cut that. They cut that. So what was the cut? Because before this, he said, some of them are severe, which is true. What he's going to say is about severe. You might go, autism, blah, blah, blah. About 1 in 4 kids with autism, people with autism on a spectrum, are severe. If your kid is severe, what he's going to say is true.
Never pay taxes.
Yep. And they laugh at this. What does it mean if you never pay taxes? What does that mean? Do you understand what that means? They're so flippant. They're so disrespectful. I want to fucking vomit. Yes, I got upset now. Mike, I'll be good. I'll breathe. I'll be good. Mike's going to be mad at me. I'll be good. If you don't pay taxes, that means you're never going to own a home. You're never going to own a car. You're not going to buy stuff. You're not going to have a job. How can you be happy and successful in life when you can't do any of these things? Of course, I don't want to pay taxes, but what does that mean? It means we look at paying taxes, and everyone knows this, and they know it too. We look at it as a sign of being productive we look at it as a sign of being a productive citizen. That's what we look at it as, and that's what he said it as, and we know it. There's the part, being so disingenuous. They know that's what he meant. He's not like, I love people paying taxes. That's not who he is. He's never been that way. Never. He's saying if you can't pay taxes, you pay taxes when you buy things. You pay taxes when you own things. You pay taxes when you work, when you have a business. And if you're severely on a spectrum, you'll never have any of that. And they laugh. These pieces of garbage laugh at this.
Wait, that's what you're gonna lead with? Like that? That's the big tragedy for you? These poor kids will never know the joy of attaching a Schedule K to a...
Yeah, they won't know that because they can't own businesses. Another self-righteous asshole. And you wonder why the Democratic Party is losing people. Because you're self-righteous like this. You have a guy there who actually gives a damn. What were you all doing during the Biden administration? During the Obama administration? What were you doing? During the Bush administration? What were you doing about it? Nothing. Nothing. You can hate Trump all you want. Trump said, go ahead, Bobby, go fix it. At least Trump said, go fix it. I don't know if Trump cares about autism. I don't know if he does. But at least he said, hey, Bobby, go fix this thing. Go. What did Obama do? Oh, wait, I remember. Not a goddamn thing. Nothing. What did Biden do? Oh, right, nothing. Not true. Oh, you know what? I'm wrong. Biden did make sure that NHS got more money so he can get programs out so that race baiters like Dr. Chris can get paid. He did that. So I guess that's something, I guess. We got equity, I think. Maybe we got some equity. We got some equity. They gave us some of that. What did anybody else do? Nothing. But you laugh at that. You laugh at that.
And 48. It's not even accurate. I mean, autistic people do pay taxes. Are you thinking of art history majors? But, I mean, please give us more of your expert opinions about what autistic people can and can't do.
They'll never hold a job.
Yep.
They'll never play baseball. They'll never write a poem.
Why are you laughing at that? Do you understand how cruel these people are? If you're in that audience and you hadn't been watching this, shame on you. Shame on you. I don't care if you like poems or not. Some people like writing poems and some people like reading poems. Good for them. If you're severely on the spectrum, you are never going to do either of those two. And here's the worst part. When my daughters write things for me. They write poems, they draw things, they create for me. When they were little, if you have children, you know what I'm talking about. And the pride you feel as a parent when they make these creations is amazing. Even if it's good or bad, you don't care. You love your kid, so it's amazing. You love it. If you're severely on the spectrum, you're never going to create. You're never going to create. And as a parent, you don't get to enjoy that. And there are some parents, depending upon the family, and you know this, who literally decide to not have any more children because one of their children's on the spectrum. That is not always, but they do. They do sometimes decide that they're not going to have any more children because they're worried how the other children will be able to get attention, not to get attention. So that made smaller families because of it too. I don't blame the family. I don't blame them. I mean, they're thinking logically about their kid. I get it. I don't blame them, but it's so true. Let me look over on Rumble if I can. Lunatic says, imagine a world of truly free humans. I cannot. We're so far away from it. I cannot. Yeah. He goes on to say, calling attention to all veterans that need a purpose, no more pills. I would agree. No more pills. He goes on, I'm going to edit it because it's lunatic again. So I try to edit it. Mr. Just Because. $10, thank you on Rumble. Not for YouTube. I know. We swore an oath. When do we fix things for a better society? The tyrants are front and center. I call the company to attention. I get it. That's as far as I'm going to go. I hear what you're saying, and people on Rumble are like, yay, I get it. So yes, thank you for that, my friend. I do appreciate the back and forth. You know I do. So yes. All righty. You made me feel a bit better about this right here.
I'll never go out on a date.
Yes.
What do you mean they don't date? I mean, does the candy compound not have Netflix? Okay, because David took Abby on a fucking safari.
So this is an issue with people who are severely autistic, and he actually said that there.
To Africa, and yeah, could Connor be a little more open-minded?
So I'll get past it, but you see the point, right? You see the actual point on how they simply insult. The whole way through, it's nothing but insult after insult after insult. So let me go a little bit further on this one, just so you'll see what he actually says. So, you can decide, right? You can decide this on your own. Some of you don't like Bobby Kennedy. I get it. But compare him to what else you would have gotten with Harris.
We'll never write poems? Well, who wants kids to write more poems? That's something we should be preventing. So it's no wonder why people are pissed at him. Most autistic people can do all that stuff. And even the ones who can are still human beings.
You don't treat him
as
that.
Who even made RFK the judge of what makes life worth living. I'm sorry, they'll never know the joy of planting bear carcasses in Central Park or
insult again,
holding 85% of the world's mucus in their throats. But
another insult.
Whatever. This is a huge project he's taking on. I mean, let him spend the next 2 decades trying to figure it out.
By September, we will know what has caused the autism epidemic, and we'll be able to eliminate those exposures.
So you think you're going to have a pretty good idea, huh?
We will know by September.
By September, wow, that was quick and very specific. I mean,
yes,
I ordered a couch that isn't going to come by then. But good to know when I'm watching the Wicked sequel this fall, I can focus on the plot instead of wondering what causes autism.
Well, there we go. So I know I put a lot on there. I just want you guys to see that. So yes. All righty. Let me now, if I could. I've given you a lot. I know. There were some more. I do want to actually show some of the actual some of what he actually said, so you can see what he actually said and why they're so mad at him. I don't know why they're so mad at him. There's literally no reason to be so mad at him. All right.
I'm going to go over some of the key numbers from the ADDM report.
So he comes out and talks about the actual report. He doesn't just start saying stuff. He talks about trying with the actual data is where he starts. Absolutely. Yes. So Mike goes on and says, no more pills, letting you live with the condition, more dependence on government to provide the pills. That's when I think since polio has been cured. True. I wish you were wrong, Mike. You are on the money. As Chris Rock said years ago, the money's going to come back. Money's in the cure. Andrea says, it's strange someone in the NAACP will be against RFK when black male babies statistically are diagnosed with autism more than white male babies. Well, we got to fix that. We need more white babies that have autism. Clearly, Andrea, so we have equity. Right? Let's have some equity here. I wish I was joking, but that's what she cares about. It's not odd. They did it on purpose. They did it on purpose. That's the issue. Laura, thank you for being a member. She says, you are real. That's right. Hell yeah. Total embarrassment. Hypocrisy. Liar. Go work in Hollywood, chick. Yes, absolutely. Shan says, you also need a doctorate in nincompoopery. Well, she's got that one. She's got that one. Yes, I think that's true. Michael says, they ain't got nothing on me. I awarded myself a doctorate in pre-posterity and put in my own diploma years ago. Nicely done. I like that. I like that. Very good. I think that's amazing. Yes. All righty. John says on Facebook, not anti-stick, but currently down at my son and daughter's in-laws to help with the animals because their daughter, my granddaughter, was having high fevers and seizures and was in the hospital for a few days. Seems fine now. Good. The combination of an ear infection, teething, and a large dose of V's work together. So yes, maybe look into when and how those are given at one time and help the person being given yes. Look, I am not about, I've never been anti the jab, the Fauci ouchie. Never been anti. But why are we shoving those all into the kids that so quickly? Let the parents decide how and when. When my kids got it, the absolute longest and longer than that. Yes. Phil, I love black people. Show me the money. Accurate. Totally accurate. Yes. 100%. Yes. 100%. Roy says, treatments and cures come from science, but hopes and prayers can help folks feel better in the meantime. That's true. I think both are true. I'm not against people having hopes and prayers at all. My issue here, Roy, is they are saying the science has decided there's no cure. Well, at the moment, and what is he promising? He's promising to find the cure or the cause. Okay, great, good. What if he doesn't? So why are you mad at him? There's no reason to be mad at him. If you know, they're not actually mad at him for the cure. They're mad because he's cutting. Yes, they're mad because he's cutting their jobs out. They're not actually mad because he's trying to find a cure. They don't care about that. Yes. Andrea says, severely autistic children will never be able to live meaningful adult lives. Why wouldn't we want to figure out why this is happening so frequently? I'll go one step further, right? They laugh about the idea of tearing up families. It often does. Now, there was a stat that said 80% of kids who have, 80% of families who have an autistic child get divorced. That's not an accurate stat. But there is a huge increase, particularly in the first 5 years after the child's diagnosed. That's true. There's a massive change. I think if I'm not mistaken, it's like an 80% increase compared to others in the first 5 years after birth, and they made it act like 80% of them get divorced. This is an increase, relative increase in divorce for those within the first 5 years of diagnosis. That is true. So people are getting hammered. Families are getting hammered because of this, and it's generally speaking the most severe ones. About 1 in 4, I think it's 26%, are considered severely on the spectrum. Matt says, Larry, if you were in the panel, they would have let you respond for 1 minute, then say, oh, we have to go to commercial break. Well, they might have enjoyed the back and forth. So, yeah. Looking over on Rumble, and it looks like it says, thank you for the $5, my friend. He says, Larry, I truly think you are here for a higher purpose. My ideology. You're a friend again. Oh, I like that. Thank you. A friend against the enemy. Yes, I think that's true. You're right. Yes, absolutely. You are correct. So, yeah, I mean, I do think. All right, let me keep going.
Overall, the autism is increasing in prevalence at an alarming rate.
Yep.
The study tests 8-year-olds who were born in 2014. And by the way, these studies are 2 years later than they should be.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we're going to do as we move this function to the Administration for a Healthy America, to the chronic disease, the new chronic disease division, is we are going to have updated real-time data so that people can look at this, so Americans can understand what is happening with chronic disease in this country in real time.
And they don't want that. They don't want that. Because they just want you to think that you're alone. It's just you. You need your pills. That's what they want. Absolutely. Yes. So Michael's going to notice, he goes, why was everyone on the CNN panel black? Doesn't autism and medicine and science include all people? Yes, which is why I'm saying it was a stacked deck. It was an ambush. And Sharmichael didn't realize his boy was going to be ambushed. Sharmichael was the only guy who could have helped him, and he didn't. And he didn't. So that's an issue. Yes. Lunatic brings up the movie that Eddie Murphy's Distinguished Gentleman. The issue then was Power Lines. Yes, Distinguished Gentleman from the 90s. If you have a chance, if you're hanging out one weekend or hanging out at night and you want to watch an interesting movie, Eddie Murphy was in this movie in the 90s called Distinguished Gentleman. I'll give you the basic premise of the movie. I won't tell you the whole thing, but the basic premise is his congressman dies in office. He happens to have the same name as the congressman. Like, I forgot the name, but the congressman's name is John Smith. His name's John Smith. So he decides to run as John Smith with no photo, recognizing that most people don't even know who their congressman is, but recognize the name. So he runs in the same party with the same name, and he wins office. Now, he's like a street hustler or something like that, and he becomes a congressman. And he's like, this is the same. I was hustling the street, and I'm hustling here. No difference. So it's a very interesting movie. It's if you like Eddie Murphy, you'll love it. If you don't like Eddie Murphy, you may or may not love it. But if you like Eddie Murphy, you'll love it. It's when he was pretty good in the 90s. It was good. So yes. Nico, thank you for the member, my friend. He says, I think it's entirely possible that it is known what's causing the rise in autism, but whatever it is has become such an economic boon. They want to take the trade-off. It sounds wild. I think they're afraid that's true. I don't think they know it. That's my gut. That's my gut. So maybe. But my gut says, yeah. So Mastermind Hour says, odd, she's a writer, doesn't have a wiki page. Well, that's how good of a writer she is. Yes. Yes. That's how good of a writer she is. There we go. Yes. Let's see here. John says, Larry, Nicole Shannon had a guest on her YouTube channel that talked about this topic and the benefits of drinking raw moo juice. Yes, look, again, I'm not against any of these things. I personally don't drink it, but if you want to drink raw milk, go. Somehow we've been surviving drinking raw milk for years. Fine. There we go. So Michelle says it's neurological / brain damage. Maybe, but the issue, how does it happen, right? And is something blocking it? Right? That's the issue. So, yeah. Phil goes on to say, autism is a disease. It's a lifestyle choice, bigot. Yep. It's true. You're right. It's true. Yes. Joel over on Rumble, thank you for being a member, my friend. If I were born 50 years later, I would have been diagnosed autistic. There's better recognition now. Now, this part is true. He does cover that. There's a part of that that's true, but that's not the only thing, right? That isn't the only thing. And that's all I wanted to bring up. Let me keep going here.
And I'd have to wait 2 years to react. We don't wait 2 years to react to a measles epidemic, and we should not, or any kind of infectious disease. We shouldn't have to do that for diabetes or autism.
Yep.
The ASD prevalence rate in 8-year-olds is now 1 in 31. Shocking. There's an extreme risk for boys. Overall, the risk for boys of getting an autism diagnosis in this country is now 1 in 20.
1 in 20. That's not just better recognition. That's part of that, no doubt. Part of that. It can't be that. Here's what I'm sure of. There weren't 1 in 20 kids on the spectrum when I was in school. I guarantee that. There were not. There might have been more than they said because maybe they didn't diagnose it effectively. Perhaps there was more. Wasn't 1 in 20.
And as high in California, which has the best data collection. So it probably also reflects the national trend, 1 in 12.5 boys. This is part of an unrelenting upward trend. The prevalence 2 years ago was 1 in 36. Since the first ADDM report in 1990, which was 1992 births, autism has increased by a factor of 4.8.
That's massive.
480%, I believe. The first ADDM survey was 22 years ago when prevalence was 1 in 150 children.
150.
In all the core states, the trend is consistently upward, and most cases now are severe. So about 25% of the kids who are diagnosed with autism are nonverbal, non-toilet trained, and have other stereotypical features, head banging, tactile and
about a quarter.
Light sensitivities, stimming, toe walking, etc. One of the things that I think that we need to move away from today is this ideology that the autism diagnosis, that the autism prevalence increases, the relentless increases.
It is a huge increase.
Are simply artifacts of better diagnoses, better recognition, or changing diagnostic criteria. If you look at table 3 of the ADDM report, it's clear that the rates are real, that they are increasing in the last 10 years, which is the beginning with.
It keeps going up and up and up. And that's the biggest issue. It keeps going up and up. Yes, absolutely. So let me grab some of these comments. You guys are popping a lot of comments up. I do want to make sure I can keep going down here. All righty. Let's see here. So many of them. I want to grab a couple if I can. And I know some of you. All right. Daniel says, the Sharpe way, that's me. Please stop talking out of your ass. See that? And go actually educate yourself about autism. You're the assholes making it about Trump. RFK lied and pissed off lots of ASD parents on both sides. Utterly not true, Daniel. You are clearly an ideologue. And that's okay. I'm happy you're here. Please still be here. If you have watched me talk at all, it's not something I ever talk about at all. I've never said that he was right or wrong. What I said is he's trying to find a cure and no one before him has. That's what I've said. And I'll say it again. I would ask you, Mr. Price or Ms. Price, Daniel, I'm assuming it sounds like a male name, Mr. Price. I would ask you, Daniel, what did the Biden administration do to try to cure autism? And your answer would be nothing. It would be funding people. It funded is what it did. Did a good job of funding. I'll give you that. It funded, and that's all. What did Obama do? Funded. What did Trump do first term? Funded. At least he threw somebody at it who's trying to fix it. Even if he fails, still works. There's still value in doing this, right? There's still value in doing this either way. So I'm sure he pissed people off. Of course he did. And I'm not okay with that. I'm okay with that. Yes, I'm okay with that. If I would ask you, talking out of my ass, did everything I said, I literally showed you on the NIH.gov site. If I'm wrong, and perhaps I am, then the government is putting out bad data. I showed it to you, didn't I? You can go check it yourself. I think I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, then the government's wrong. I didn't make that stuff up. So I can be talking out of any orifice I like. I gave you receipts. I would like to know where someone else's receipts are. Laura says, I'm so shocked they believe this propagandist agenda. They are soapboxing just to be heard. True. Yes, absolutely true. Yes, 100%. Michael says, jobs program. Yes. Yep. Daniel's looking at Mike. He says, you Don cultists have been weaponizing RFK's autism tripe left and right, coming out of the woodwork like roaches. Oh, there's the insults. Okay. I got it, Daniel. You're self-reporting, my friend. You're self-reporting. As you hear me say, they always go with insults, and there you go. Insult, insult, insult. I showed you data. And all I said was, I hope he finds a cure. I didn't say he would. I don't know if he will. And I said the other guys before him did not try to find a cure. Also true. And that's you data that was true about it. I gave you information. It's all there. And you have now resorted to, I'm going to insult. Okay. Daniel, you're fighting everybody. I love it, Daniel. Keep going. Genetics, go research the human genome and how it works, fascinating stuff. Yes. And he actually brings it up. Genetics don't cause an epidemic. Genetics can be triggered by the environment. That's how it actually works. And I know that's true. You can check the human genome and they will tell you that. That's accurate. You can be genetically predisposed to something, and then your environment based as the equivalent of turning it on within your system. And that is part of genetics. And I have researched it, and it is true. So yes, that is accurate. So that part's true. So Paula says, there are some very effective treatments for autism, which I learned about when I was an education major, but the press won't cover them. Learned about it in special ed class at a state school. Yeah, I believe it. I'm sure there's ways of doing that, but all I'm saying is, how can we fix it, right? How can we find the cause and then fix it? So yes, the issue is Daniel says, he's okay. Recessive genes in schools. Yes. ASD is not only genetic, Daniel. That's something you made up. I would ask you, if you think that's true, and please put it in the comments anywhere you like. Please put in the comments your data that shows that they know that that's true. You will not find that. What you will find is they will all tell you, and even Kennedy will say so, there is a genetic component because it flows within families. Accurate statement. I know that this flows within families. That's true. It doesn't mean it's genetic, right? Many things can flow within a family. You don't necessarily get it. It can be triggered still by something else. That's an issue. So yes, in any case. Up there, and Daniel goes, oh, yes, some people carry the gene and never express itself. Some does. Daniel. Yes. So if it doesn't express itself, why would it all of a sudden in the past 20 years start expressing itself? That would be an environmental issue, wouldn't it? Literally making it not genetic, meaning you're predisposed, but it's triggered by something environmental. That's why it would express itself, right? I'm not sure where you're going. Phil says, even with the Human Genome Project, we know that environmental factors can change the expression of those genes. Yes. Daniel, I think you're outing yourself, my friend. I think you're outing yourself. I think you are. I'm glad you're here. Please stay. I hope you get it that I'm here for this. Yes. So MKW Knox says sickle cell, Asian flush, medicine is racist. It is. Oh my God, it's racist. Yes. Yes. Daniel says again, wow, Daniel, you are fighting tonight. Okay. You can't really talk about science as you're refuting settled science based on RFK Jr. Okay. First off, no such thing as settled science. Again, you're outing yourself. Just like the stick, just like the virus, settled science. Yeah. Which is based on a debunked and retracted study. Again, you're a clown. The study was actually out of the UK, and that was retracted. I agree. He's not talking about that study. He's saying he's going to find an answer. You have decided that he's a bad guy, Daniel. You've decided this. You've decided that he's a bad guy. Therefore, whatever he says is bad. You have done exactly what I said. I hope that you're not real and you're a troll, because you are literally walking. You're doing what I always say. You are becoming the poster child for what I say, which is when people get mad, they simply assign a negative trait to somebody, particularly from the left, more than the right. The right does it too. The left starts with the right ends with the left starts with. The right will start with logic. When they get mad, they name call. The left starts with name calling and then goes to whatever they talk about. It's a whole different. They both do it, but different side. I'm sorry, different speed. So you've decided that he's a bad guy. So you call him a quack. You call me a clown. You just insult. But I gave you data. I gave you actual points. And you're like, it's wrong because of some study. He's not talking about that study. He didn't say it was from the vax. He didn't say that. Neither did I. No one here said it was because of that. I said I want to find a cure. And if there was a magic pill, I would take it and give it to my niece. That's what I said. And other people here said if they had the pill, they'd give it to their kid. And you wouldn't? Would you give that the pill to somebody or no, if you could find it? Right? Could you? Would you? I wonder. I'm not sure. So in any case, I feel like you are almost like you're teasing. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Quote Day says attorneys don't typically study much science. Okay. This is another thing, just trying to insult. Another insult. He has spent more time suing pharmaceutical companies than anyone else you know. And I don't know you, but I know more than anybody else you know because no one has sued more than he has. So that's why I can say that without knowing you. I am sure he has sued more than anyone you know because no one has sued more than him. And he's won. He has studied more science than most scientists. Most scientists aren't very active in science. I mean, those who are study more than him. But those who are not active, which is most scientists, are not active in science. He studied more than most scientists. I'm not making that up. Do your own homework. That's real. A Google search will show you that to be true. He has won and studied more than most. So yeah, that's not accurate. You guys just hate him. This is the same as Orange Man Bad. This is, what do you want to call him? Anti-vax guy bad? Whatever. It's almost the same thing. This guy's bad, so therefore everything he say is just bad. So yes. Then it says, thought this was about autism there, Larry, yet you're using autism to go on a rant against anyone you deem anti-Trump and to blah, blah, CNN, way to be unbiased. No, I'm not. They're doing it. Daniel, okay, I see where you are, brother. Look, I hope you're teasing. Because you're literally being a stereotype. I hope you're teasing. They brought it up. They put 5 black people and 1 guy on a panel. They brought up people who were literally race hustlers. They brought them up. And then they started saying, Trump picked Trump. I didn't do that. They did. That's not me, my friend. I don't know what you're talking about. That's not me. Anyway, Shelley says, if the human genome was completely understood, we would have no disease or dysfunction in humans and animals. That'd be kind of cool. Have we come to a better understanding of the genome? Yes. Is the code cracked? No. I think we are getting better. I do. I think we are. I think we're getting closer, and I think we're getting better, right? I think we are getting better. So yeah. All righty. Let me see if I can grab this here. Oh, Daniel, I see, Daniel, you've gotten funding for things. You were able to get funding for an entire school district, weren't you? Well, nicely done. Congrats. They always self-report.
The first one, year by year, there is a steady, relentless increase. I want it because this epidemic denial has become a feature in the mainstream media, and it's based on an industry canard. And obviously, there are people who don't want us to look at environmental exposures.
That's true. They don't look. Yes, this is literally what Daniel's saying. He's saying people don't want us to look at environmental exposures. Well, what if they exist? What if it's true? What if we find them? Shouldn't we know? Shouldn't you be aware? And what if there actually is, what if there is a study that shows it's whatever, a certain thing you eat or drink or ingest or breathe in? I have no idea, but let's say it is. Wouldn't you want to know? What if it's when you're pregnant? Wouldn't pregnant women want to know? What if it is that? I don't know, but I'm going to ask you one more time, those of you who think I'm nuts. What was the Biden administration doing? Nothing. What was the first Trump administration doing? Nothing. What was Obama doing? Nothing. Except funding things, which is nice, but that's it. They're funding things. But are they funding cures? No. They're funding school districts. There we go. So yes. So anyway, Daniel says, and for you to say something like that about your own family, Larry, shame on you. You should love her regardless. Who said I didn't love her? Acting like autism is some woe is me, doom disorder, and curse from God. It is bad. Daniel, for you to think it's not bad, what is wrong with you? You must be, and I have to tell you, there is no doubt in my mind, you must be someone who serves people on a spectrum. You have to be. There's no way that you could say some stupid shit like that and not be that. You must make money off this somehow. You have to be this, or you're trolling. Because you're this is fat acceptance. This is fat acceptance. It's fine. It's not. They're all wonderful and awesome and great. Of course, I love my niece. Why would you say some stupid shit like that? I never said that. And I love her so much. I would like her, in my perfect world, to be able to own a home of her own. That's what I would like. I would like her to be able to go on dates and find a man that she might love, assuming she's straight. I don't know, because she can't communicate well to know that if she's straight or not. I don't know if she is, because she can't communicate that, Daniel. I'd like to know if she's straight or not, and see if she could find a lovely partner with her life, and maybe have children if she wants them. I don't know if she wants children, Daniel, because she can't communicate. So I don't know. She might want children. Maybe she doesn't even know what children are. I don't know. She can't communicate. Wise ass, Mr. Who Loves You. Shame on you for being such a self-serving jerk. Funding. Like all of them on CNN. You should go on CNN. You'd be perfect with them. Go on CNN. Talk about funding. That's what matters. I'm sitting there saying how I'd like my niece to have the best life she can have. It is woe is me when you're the family member who now loses your family because of this. When you're a family member who can't see progress in their child and you have trouble sleeping at night because how are you going to pay for the new system that has been set up to where the government won't do it well enough, so you have to go out there and pay private doctors and private people to take care of your kid. Yes, woe is me to the person. It's not me. I wish it was. I wish it was me sometimes. Some of them wish it was me and not my sister-in-law, who now has to worry about what happens if she gets sick and dies. Who's going to take care of her kid? Put him in the system? Oh, no, a guy like you, Daniel, they'll pay you. And a guy like you will take care of her, and you'll make some cash on it. But I'm the bad guy? Better look in the mirror. You better look in the mirror, my friend. You've outed yourself again. I hope you're fake. I hope you're a troll, and you were trying to trigger me, because you triggered me, so well done if you were trying to. Good job. Well done. Mike, I'm going to stop now. You did trigger me, so well done if you were trying to. But you are the problem. Let me be very clear. You are the problem, not me. You are. Kennedy is trying to find an answer. And if he doesn't, okay, with the world, anybody doesn't find the answer? People think about it now. You're like, status quo is great. I'm getting paid. Status quo is great. That's you. Status quo is great. Yay. That's you. Good. Make some more money off of it. Go ahead. You just embarrass yourself. So anyway, let me keep talking.
And so I want to just read you some of the little excerpts from some of the older studies. The baseline for autism in this country was established with the largest epidemiological study in history, a study of all 900,000 children in the state of Wisconsin, children under the age of 12. They found 0.7 0.7 children had autism in every 10,000.
It's not, man.
That's less than 1
That's
in
tiny.
10,000. Today we're 1 in 31.
Wow. Massive difference.
That study also confirmed the 4-to-1 male to female ratio.
This is embarrassing, bad. I'm going to speed this up a little bit because he's getting slow.
60 children in
Let's see if I can
Wisconsin
speed
with
this up a bit
autism.
here. Can I? Hold on.
And today it's around 20,000.
Let me see if I can speed this up a bit if I can. I got to find this real fast. I'm going to pop this up to make it a little bit faster because he is going a tad slow. Hold on. Let's go to 1.5 because he is going slow. All right. That should do it. Let's see if that's better. Let's see if that's better because he's going way too slow. And I do want to get through some other parts that he brought up.
North Dakota set out to count every child in the state with a pervasive developmental disorder, including autism. That study meticulously combed through every record, every diagnosis, and he even conducted in-person assessments of the entire population.
So there was a lot of work on this one.
80,000 children under 18. The autism rate they found was 3.3 per 10,000. So that's in line with the 1 in 10,000 that was found in Wisconsin 17 years ago.
We're rocking it.
For context, today, the last number of 1 in 36 is 83 times higher.
83 times higher. That's not diagnosis. That's a problem. Something's changing, right? Something is changing. That's the issue. Something is changing. Okay, Mike's not mad at me. Okay, Mike said, Larry totally understandable when you get triggered. No complaints on that one. Okay, thank you, Mike. I stopped though, right? We're back on. I'm being good. I'm being good.
In 1987, out of 1 million, every 1 million kids, 330 were diagnosed with autism. Today, there are 27,777
Jesus.
for every million.
That's a lot.
If you accept the epidemic deniers narrative, you have to believe that researchers in North Dakota missed 98.8% of the children with autism. That thousands of profoundly disabled
no way you
children
can
were
miss it.
somehow invisible to doctors, teachers, parents, and even their own study. The same researchers who followed the original cohort for 12 years to double check their number.
Now here I want to bring this up to point. There's give or take 5 or 6 million people with autism on the spectrum in America. If about a little more than 25% of them are severe, it's about 1.5 million severely autistic children or people, I shouldn't say children, people who are struggling. And not just that, their families are struggling, right? It's a lot of people struggling and people being afraid and worried, right, about this. It's a big deal. And I just wanted to show you that piece there. So I want you to see that he wasn't just saying crazy stuff. They took everything out of context, insulted him, and then said he was dumb and crazy or racist or whatever. There was hysterophobe, whatever. That's what they actually did. That's what made me angry.
Went back in 2000 and found that they had missed exactly one child. So doctors and therapists in the past were not stupid.
Yep.
They weren't missing all these cases. The epidemic is real.
That's my point. The epidemic's real. It is real. You can say it's not. And is there a genetic component? Yes, of course there is. There's a genetic component. There is. There's no doubt. But something's triggering it. Something is. That's the problem.
Between 1959 and 1965.
All right, Danielle, last time I bring this up. And I won't get triggered, Mike, I won't. And for Kennedy and you to use that 25% as a representation of the entire spectrum. Okay. No one did except the press. He literally said he spoke about severely autistic, and so did I. I literally said it's about 26%, and so did he. That's government data. That's what it is. We're talking about those 25%, which is about 1.5 million people in this country. So it's not misinformation. It is you straw manning, because that's all you can do is straw man. I showed you data. I showed it to you. NIH data. And you just insulted when I showed you data. I brought the receipts. And you went, mad. Okay. It's how it is. And by default, if it's an increase in 83% increase, again, this is data that's here, government data. I'm not making that up, government data. That would make it an epidemic, wouldn't it? Yes, absolutely. It would make it that. Yes. BStraps05 says, Larry did a quick AI search. There's approximately 30,000 autism consultants in the US. Yes, absolutely. And then Daniel says, it's not contagious. How do you know it's not contagious? You don't know that. He doesn't know that either, but neither do you. What if it is? You don't know that. No one knows that. Gene says, what do you mean by straw man? A straw man is when someone puts up an argument that you didn't put up and then knocks it down. That's called being straw man. So he said, Daniel said, see, you're using it as everybody. I never said that. He's just saying I did, and then he knocks that argument down. That's called straw manning. So if I go, man, I love red cars. Red cars, are usually fast cars. And then you say, Gene, why are you saying all red cars are fast cars? That's not true. I didn't say that. You just strawman me. You said that I said all red cars are fast cars. I didn't say that. What I said was I like red cars. Many of them are fast cars. You then made up this thing and then knock it down. That's called strawmanning, Gene. And that's what Daniel's been doing. And it's a common tactic used. But I always call it out right away. I just call it right out. It's not how it works. It's not what it is. And he'll just keep insulting because he doesn't know any better. He'll just keep insulting.
Researchers from 14 hospitals associated with major universities undertook the National Collaborative Perinatal Project, tracking 30,000 children from birth to age 8.
Now, why would he say all these things? He goes out of his way to say this because people say he doesn't have data or facts, that he's wrong, he's lying, he's making things up. Every single thing he's saying now, you can do a simple Google search, anybody, a simple Google search, and find that it's true. It's government data. Now, if it's wrong, it could be wrong, but then the government's wrong, which is, who knows, could be true. I'm okay with that. Well, then maybe we'll find something else out. But all the experts, they're saying this. All the experts are saying this. Well, here we go.
Based analysis. The study conducted 9 separate screenings covering neurology, psychology, speech, language, hearing, and visual function. Every developmental quirk, anomaly, and disorder was logged with painstaking detail. Autism, a condition characterized by profound impairments in social communication and behavior, would have stood out like a neon sign. There were 14 cases. That's 4.7 per 10,000. So
now we don't have to go any further than this. I just want you to see this is what he actually talked about. And then afterwards, he brought on someone else when he was done. He then brought on somebody else to talk. Just so you're aware, he didn't just do it himself. He then brought in somebody else.
Put an end to it. And I think I'm going to have Walter Zaharodny, who is the most senior researcher for this project for ADDM and has been doing this for many years, to come up and say a little.
So this is what was attacked. I want you to see that. That's what was attacked. He gave data. He said he'll try to find the answer. He brought up another expert. And this was taken a dump on. Why? Because people have decided he's a bad guy. So don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. That's it. Let me head on over to Instagram if I could. Let's see here. Rob says, I believe diet's what's causing much of this. I think it could be. I don't know, right? It could be. Absolutely. Sugar is in nearly all food we consume. We eat more sugar today than we have ever in history. If that's true, I mean, again, I don't know, but I hope he finds, if it's true, then it might be mothers, right? Because if the kid shows autism or whatever it is as a baby, maybe it's in the mom, it's in her diet or what she's eating. If that's true, it could be. And if that's true, and you're a woman who's going to get pregnant or a grandparent who your daughter's going to get pregnant, wouldn't you want to know? Wouldn't you want to know? So yeah, maybe it is. It could be something we're breathing. Could be something that we're eating. Sure, could be. It may not be sugar. It could be like something we're eating or breathing. It could be any of that. Rick goes on. Keto may be the cure for autism. See that? We've discussed this. Keto is magic. Keto is magic. There we go. Maybe it's keto. Maybe that's the answer. That will solve everything. I love that. Let me head over to Rumble if I can. Let's see. All volunteer veterans choose their own death. True, for the bettering of the fellow man. You're not wrong. I think we can do that, right? These individuals came home without serving their ideal purpose. Dangerous person, mild. Look, the reality of using veterans to help out. Yes, I think they should. I agree, they should. But it's got to be voluntary. 100%. Yes, 100%. All righty. Let's see here. The Texas Spy historian says, about halfway through my course in college. Oh, okay, this is all different. But I'm about to get into the anatomy of U.S. intelligence. We just finished the evolution of it. Pretty excited. Oh, good. That's interesting. A little off topic, but thank you. Appreciate that. Yes, I do appreciate that. All good. Sterdan says, it's government data from previous administrations. Well, there we go. So we got some data, and what do we do with it? Nothing. Yes. Yeah. Paula says, many parents of autists say improving their kids' diet helps. I bet it does. My gut would be because of the keto diet, for those who don't know, was actually meant initially was created to help people with epilepsy to stop seizures. So if there, the problem is I don't know, is autism related to seizures in any way? If it is, then maybe it would help. Maybe there's a special diet that would help to make things better. Maybe. And look, all I'm saying is I have heard, and I've paid attention to this, virtually no government's doing anything to do anything except treat. Well, if you can find an answer, I'm there. Right? I'm there. So, any case. All righty. B-Straps05 says, give a Democrat a fish and he will eat for a day. Teach Democrat to fish and he'll create fishing licenses, tax your rod, identify the fish is endangered, and close your fishing spot. True. Not wrong. Yes. True. Absolutely. All righty. That covered that piece. All righty. And Morgan says keto for epilepsy. That's true. Yes. That's if you look at the actual history of the keto diet, that's where it began. They changed how the brain. I'm going to be a little bit off on this. The brain can either run off of fat or sugars, which is carbs or ketones. And when the brain runs off of carbs or sugars, something different happens in it. Again, I don't know the details of it, but when it runs off ketones, somehow it lessened seizures. And it was clear and obvious. That's how they started it. And that's how they learned the difference between the diets. So yes, that's what it began for. Yeah, absolutely. Nico says, there's a lot of evidence to support further study of microbiomes on the severity of autism. Maybe it's that. I hope it's that too. Right. And this is the point. Is the government coming out with these studies? No, they should. Maybe it's true. Let's do it. I'm in. I am in. I hope it's that. I am in. Guys, I'm going to ask you one time if you could, please, guys, click the button known as like Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. I deserve it. Come on, I gave you guys a long one today, didn't I? Please click that button that's known as like. Remember, the new, if this is not live when you're watching it, watch another video if you can. I ask you all the time, watch another video if you can. If you like what I'm doing, if you think it's fun, please share it in other places. It is important to share so other people can see it. We post it someplace, put it into a Facebook group, whatever the case may be. It does matter. If you can do it, please do so. If you want to become a member, you can do so if you want to on YouTube, $4.99, or on Rumble, or also on Facebook if you want to. Click subscribe on Facebook, subscribe on Rumble, or join on YouTube. All of those are good. Please do so if you can. Either way, though, liking is free. Absolutely free. Remember, if you become a member, though, you get to submit reaction vids to me to check out. That's awesome. And remember, they do absolutely love, the algo loves when you comment after the live. When this is over, please come on back and put a comment. What I'm asking now is, what do you think will happen with Kennedy and finding the cure for autism? Do you think he'll find one? Do you think he won't? Do you think it'll be within a year? Do you think he'll make it up? What do you think will happen with Kennedy and this by the end of the year? What do you think the outcome will be for Kennedy? And remember, if you're watching this and it's not live, you watch this afterwards. Once this is done, please click on another video and watch it right away. The algo loves that too. I will see you all